SIDEREAL Chronicles by Jionni. Chapter 1. Strange New World. A sultry, golden afternoon settled over the sun-soaked streets of Pierrot City. J-Sky sat alone on a bench in a park not far from his new home. He had moved into the neighborhood just 2 weeks earlier, yet already the walls of his house felt confining, monotony seeping in like heat through a sunlit window. So he wandered around. The air hung heavily with summer stillness. To his right, 2 towering trees rose like ancient sentinels, their deeply grooved trunks etched with the scars of age and time. They had likely stood there long before the quiet town blossomed into the restless sprawl it had become. Now, they faced the boulevard, mute witnesses to the pavement that had long since claimed the earth. Cars of every shape and color zipped past, each one seemingly on a mission too urgent for a summer afternoon. Their tireless noise formed a continuous hum, broken only by the steady hiss of a nearby sprinkler, which swept rhythmically over the emerald lawn. He looked up. Beyond the streets, tall, majestic buildings loomed, silent and unmoving, as if staring back at him. Their stillness made him feel even smaller. The bench let out a soft squeak as he shifted, settling into thought. For a moment, the world around him faded into nothing. His mind drifted to everything he had left behind in Nakona, the city that had watched him grow for nearly 15 years. He was 16 now, and the things that had once seemed trivial were returning to haunt him. He remembered his friends, though deep down, he knew he'd never truly had any. It wasn't what they said that hurt, it was their indifference. Since the move, their silence had been louder than words. They had simply stopped caring. He had always been there for them, believing, perhaps naively, that the feeling was mutual. But after his father, James, was transferred from Nakona to Pierrot City for work, everything changed. His messages went unanswered. His ex-friends always seemed too busy, logging off social media the moment his name appeared. It was clear now, they didn't want anything to do with him anymore. The rejection stung. He felt hurt, yes, but the disappointment was worse. That he was used to, in some strange way. It had become familiar. In Pierrot City, the only people he knew, besides his parents, were the twin boys next door, Teo and Tayo Robinson. He had spotted them a few times while in the backyard since moving him back in early June. They seemed friendly. Maybe, just maybe, they could become friends. His thoughts wandered to the new school he'd be attending. A knot of nerves tightened in his stomach. What would the other kids be like? Would he make new friends? Could he finally get a girlfriend? He hadn't had a girlfriend yet, not in all his 16 years. It was a subject he dodged in conversations with his old classmates, dreading the mockery that always followed. He used to be embarrassed by it. He was shy, especially around girls, especially around her. Stacy Ballmer. That smile, so bright and easy. Her long brown hair. Those sparkling brown eyes. The way his heart would thump faster than the cars racing past on the boulevard whenever she was near. She was the prettiest girl in class, and he had known she was out of his league. But still, he'd missed seeing her. A soft gust of wind from the east pulled him back into the present, sweeping away his thoughts like dust across the park path. The scent of grass drifted into his nose. He looked up at the sun hovering near the horizon and guessed it was around 5 or 6 in the afternoon. The realization surprised him. Time had vanished, like water slipping through his fingers. He adjusted his jeans as he sat up straighter and glanced at the streets bustling with cars. Then his gaze drifted beyond the moving colors and noise, toward an old building he hadn't noticed before. It stood behind a tall, wrought iron fence, drawing his attention with its quiet, dignified presence. Curious, he rose from the bench and made his way down the sidewalk. The building, colored a deep mahogany, resembled an academy or some kind of institution. Through the fence, he could make out people on the campus, teenagers, some who looked about his age. Jay furrowed his thick brows. His expression was thoughtful, his mouth slightly parted in curiosity. His heterochromia, soft green right eye and darker green left eye shifted as he scanned the scene. From the wide edge of the sidewalk, he realized the ground stretched nearly 2 full blocks. Maybe this school was different, or maybe he just needed it to be. Folding his slender arms across his chest, he decided to cross the avenue for a closer look. The storm of thoughts that had overwhelmed him earlier now seemed far away, left behind on the bench. He glanced up at the traffic light, brushing his hand through his tousled brown hair. To his luck, the red light flipped to the white symbol of a walking figure. Cars halted. He stepped onto the crosswalk, wearing his favorite black Rockstar t-shirt and worn-in jeans. He made it across just before the lights switched again, the road returning to a sea of movement. Following the sidewalk, he approached the fence and looked beyond the iron bars. A stone path led into the campus, ending at a fountain carved with stone figures. 3 children surrounding a pedestal of books, thin jets of water arching into the air from its center. Farther in, he saw the students more clearly. The boys wore navy blue pants, the girls in blue striped skirts. All wore white shirts or tees, giving them a unified, polished look. A few sat on the grass in small groups, others strolled the walkways, and some stood chatting at the foot of the main building steps. The building itself was tall and elegant, its old-world facade holding a certain faded grandeur. Jake guessed the students were high schoolers, just like him. Their energy felt light, almost joyful. Trees dotted the rest of the ground, offering shade and softness to the campus landscape. As he continued along the outer fence, he came to a golden plaque mounted beside the gate. It read, Kind van Buurenschool, boarding school for orphan children. We care about their futures. As he read the plaque, a soft sound caught his attention, quiet but unmistakable. It sounded like someone crying. He turned toward the gates and noticed a girl near a tree, her body curled into the thick grass, shoulders trembling. Her long, orange-reddish hair cascaded down her back, catching the warm light of the fading sun. She wore the same uniform as the other girls from the school, but unlike them, she was alone and shaking. So much for caring about the children. Jay thought bitterly, his gaze lingering on the curve of her spine as she sobbed. He couldn't help but wonder what had broken her so completely. He stepped closer to the fence, gripping the cool, wrought iron and drawing a slow breath. He hesitated. Was it weird to say something? Hey, are you okay? The girl flinched, then slowly turned. Her pale face was streaked with tears, and her eyes were black, deep and endless, like a night with no stars. They didn't just look at him, they pulled him in quiet and cold, like something ancient watching from the dark. Her eyes widened when she saw him. In an instant, she scrambled to her feet, startled. Who are you? She asked, wiping at her cheeks with the back of her hands. I'm Jay, he said. I was just passing by and I saw you crying. I wanted to make sure you were okay. She quickly brushed the dust from her blue-striped skirt and dabbed at her eyes, collecting herself before answering. I'm fine, she snapped, brushing the dust from her blue-striped skirt. Everything is fine. She paused, eyes fixed on his face. Jay shifted awkwardly and looked down at the concrete between his shoes. He knew the unsettling effect his heterochromia eyes had on people, the contrast of one green eye and one darker green. Are you sure? He asked, still avoiding her gaze. Yes. It's nothing. I should go back to school. Her voice had cooled, but her eyes flickered with something raw. With a quick, wary glance, she stepped from the shade of the trees into the open. The paved road ahead was in full view of the others nearby. She halted midway, catching sight of the gathered students. Her long, pumpkin-colored hair shimmered in the afternoon light. She turned sharply back toward Jay, her eyes catching his. They were dark, glassy, and red at the edges, but still, to him, achingly beautiful. Jay, you said? She asked, then glanced at the others and ducked back into the trees as if trying to hide. That's right, he replied. Jay Sky. Sky, she echoed, puzzled. A glint of curiosity replaced the tension in her brow. That's unusual, so I've been told. He felt warmth rising in his cheeks. Well, I'm Riva. Riva Twilly. She stepped forward and extended a pale, delicate hand. Nice to meet you, Riva. He reached through the iron bars, separating them. Her hand was damp, perhaps from tears. Riva, I've never heard that name before, he added, easing into the moment, comforted by the fact that she hadn't flinched at his strange eyes. She gave a small shrug. Surprising? I think it's cool. Uncommon. I like it. She tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear and glanced down. I'll never know why my parents chose it, she said softly. I just have to accept it. Jay's expression changed as the realization struck. I'm sorry, he said. Now it made sense. This was a boarding school for orphans. It's all right, she replied with a weak smile. It's been a long time. In some way, I think it makes me unique. It does, he agreed. Then, more gently, is that why you were crying? She looked up, her pale cheeks dotted with freckles. No, she said, steady now. I stopped crying about that a long time ago. This is different. What is it? Her body tensed. I shouldn't talk about it. I must stop. Why? What's wrong? He noticed his fingers digging into the iron bars and loosened his grip. I'm sorry. I can't. She looked away, flinching from the question. Why not? Because talking about it only causes more trouble. It's better if I let it go. Let what go? Riva, I want to help you. Her gaze lifted to meet his. She hesitated, then looked away, then back again. She took a breath. The kids here, they tease me. They're cruel. Just forget it. It won't change anything. I've been bullied too, he offered quietly. I know how it feels. Have you told anyone? It's not that easy, she whispered. Especially when. When what? He pressed. I have to go, she said abruptly, stepping back. Her fiery hair caught the light as she turned. Wait, he called. She stopped and turned slowly. I can help you. I want to help you, he said. I like you, Jay, but I'm not supposed to talk to people outside the school. She gave him a final glance and walked away. He gripped the bars again, emotions churning, questions piling up. A sudden bell rang from within the building as he watched her disappear into the crowd. He was about to leave when he noticed something. The students staring at Riva. One of them, a dark-haired boy, shouted, "Freak!" The others laughed. Where were you? Did the aliens abduct you again? A girl sneered. A muscular blonde girl stormed up to Riva and screamed, What did I tell you, weirdo? Riva didn't respond. Speak up. Are you stupid? The blonde snapped, yanking a fistful of her hair. Riva crumpled to the ground. Fight! Fight! Someone yelled, and the crowd surged. Jay's heart pounded. He lost sight of her in the frenzy. Suddenly, a woman in a sharp uniform stormed through the doors. Break it up, she shouted. The students scattered like leaves in the wind. Jay strained to see. Between the chaos, he spotted a figure, Riva, rising and fleeing toward the trees. Moments later, she reappeared at the spot where they had first spoken. Her sobbing was louder now. It's getting late. Anyone still out will be penalized. The woman's voice rang across the courtyard. The students trickled indoors. Even the blonde girl vanished inside, innocent in appearance but foul in deed. All except Riva. Jay stepped closer, circling the iron bars. Riva, he whispered. She gasped, startled, wiping her cheeks. Why are you still here? Did you see? Yes. I saw everything. Why do they treat you like that? She stayed silent, tears slipping down her face. Riva, I don't want to talk about it. Why not? Because no one ever understands. How do you know I won't? Because no one ever has. I will, he said firmly. She blinked. You mean it? Ido. No matter how crazy it sounds? I'll listen. She swallowed. They harass me because they don't believe me. They think I'm weird. A freak. She hesitated again. Believe what? She glanced over her shoulder. Strange things. I've seen lights and people from space. Aliens, he said, half smiling in disbelief. Yes. Her eyes darkened. They're tall, almost human. But their eyes, they're hollow and glow blue. It terrifies me. Why do they come here or to you? I don't know. It feels like I'm part of something they're studying. He laughed softly, uncertain. Riva, aliens aren't real. She stepped back, hurt flashing across her face. I knew it. You're just like the rest. No, wait, he called. Please. She looked up, eyes shining with a flicker of hope. I want to believe you. If it's true, I want to help. They stared at one another as the sky deepened into twilight. All right, she whispered. Miss Twilly. The woman's voice cracked through the air once more. Oh no, Riva gasped. When can I see you again? Jay asked breathlessly. Do you really want to believe? She asked. Ido. Then come back. Tonight. Midnight. Right here. She pointed at the campus. I'll be here, and I'll be waiting, she whispered. Now go. Riva Twilly, the woman yelled again, charging toward them. He watched her one last time, her hair glowing like fire beneath the orange sky, as stars began to pierce the fading blue. It was the beginning of twilight. Jay turned away, unaware that the night ahead would unravel everything he thought he knew about the world, and nothing would ever be the same again.